Hi everyone and good morning. For today's webinar, we're pleased to share with you some exciting and important new features from our product release 18.0, as well as some more information on how you can be part of our Specright Network Beta Partner Program. These updates were designed to save you time while enabling a more seamless experience and improving flexibility within Specright. We're now hosting these quarterly, so we hope you continue to join us for each new product release webcast, but we'll also be sprinkling some more in between that focus on major features and key integrations, and many of which will include guest speakers. So please look out for those announcements throughout the year. So for today, we'll take about 30 minutes to dig into the details of our features and also show you a few live demos. And then we'll save some time at the end for Q&A. I'm Steve Weber, Senior Product Marketing Manager at Specright, and joining me is Ravi Gandhi, Director of Product, Dharma Banaj, Technical Product Manager, and also on the call we have Daniel Goad, our Strategic Program Manager. So thank you so much again for joining us today. And with that, I'll send it over to you, Ravi.
Thanks so much, Steve. So first up, we are really excited to share the progress we have made in the last 6 months on the Specright Network. For those of you not yet familiar with our Specright Network initiative, the network is designed to hypercharge connectivity between supply chain partners. Once onboarded to the network, a customer and its suppliers can collaborate and share specs, be it packaging specs or ingredient specs or even documents, through the network. With this release, we are opening up access to the network to the first beta customers. Danielle will share details on the beta program later. So let's take a look at how the Specright network works. Let's say supplier A has a commonly used ingredient that is supplied to multiple customers. The supplier will publish the spec to the network. The supplier can choose to share it with specific members of the network or broadcast it to all the members of the network. The customers then have the ability to consume the spec either as a copy on their local Specright environment or as a PDF or a CSV file. You can imagine why this is so powerful. It basically eliminates the lengthy exchanges between the supplier and 3 separate customers and allows easier communication of updates to the spec as well. So let's take a look at the key capabilities we added to the network as we open it up to our first customers. Within Spec Share, right, we are adding 13 different packaging type templates, such as corrugated, bottle, or flexible. You can either broadcast these specs to the entire network or share them with select members. You can also, on the other side, search for a shared spec using filtering capabilities similar to the like item finder that you are familiar with. Once you search and you can look up the details in the spec, you can also choose to download the spec, whether it's a PDF copy of the spec or in a CSV format. And more importantly, you can also create a local copy of the spec. So you can basically consume the spec to your local Specright environment. And then of course you can use it as if it's your own spec, right? Every time there's a new version from that point on, you can also download the latest version from the network. You can also, in addition to sharing specs, share documents such as product catalogs or design guides. Again, you can broadcast your own docs to the entire network or share them with select members. And finally, you have access to the entire member directory as well, right? Which includes information on the primary contacts. So let's take a look at the enhancements we have for IDP, or Intelligent Document Processing. This one is not a new feature per se, but an enhancement, right? So we are continuously looking for new COA templates, which are commonly used across industry. And this time we have added a COA template for life sciences. This will help customers extract key information like formulas, CAS numbers, formula weights, for instance, right, from the COAs. Later, Dharma will show you how to use this feature as part of our live demo. We also wanted to touch upon a couple of other important enhancements. First is around new integration capabilities. Integrating Specright with other client systems is a very common ask, and Genesis, the leading nutritional labeling software, and NetSuite, the popular cloud ERP, are 2 systems that are commonly integrated with Specright. We have introduced new SDKs that will allow us to build these integrations quickly in a repeatable fashion. Next, we have Spec Compare. This is a feature that we had delivered in the last release, which enables easy comparison between any 2 records. We are now enabling this feature within the supplier community. So let's take a closer look at a couple of these features. First, we have Dharma showing us the new COA enhancements.
Thank you, Ravi. In this demo, I'll be covering the new enhancements which we have done to our IDP feature, which is Intelligent Document Processing feature, where we had launched the COA documents. So in this enhancement, we have added a new template for COAs, which will help our customers from the life sciences and industrials to extract the COA information from uh, this new template. So I'll go over how the IDP feature actually works, and I'll focus more on the enhancements which we have done in this release. Okay, so for the IDP feature, it's basically we extract the information from the PDF documents and store automatically into Specright. And we have added a human review process in that, so that whenever the information has been extracted, you can review and then create the final records. So for that, we have created one new tab called document analysis. So here we will upload all the documents, and then once the document information has been extracted, all the information can be reviewed, and then we can create the final record in the quality object, and the test results which are associated to the COA will be created in the test results. Now let's see how it exactly works. So we have to first go in the document analysis tab, then click on the new button. So here we have to make sure that the document tab is certificate of analysis, and then we have to select the access library. So it defines like who will have access to this particular file. And I've created one sample document. So this is for the Sigma Aldrich supplier. So let's upload that document. So I want to extract the information from this PDF document. In a few seconds, I'll show you how that document looks like. So once we hit this button, basically we are sending the PDF document to our computer vision and machine learning algorithm to extract the information. So let's see what document I have uploaded. So this is the record which gets created, and this is the new template which we have configured in this release. Here you can see we have the chemical formulas and multiple other fields. So we will be extracting the top level information and also the test results. And let me focus on which fields we have configured in this new release. So earlier we had first 8 fields for the COS, but with this release we have doubled the count, since the goal was to extract more information from the COA document so that it will save time for you guys. So in this release, as you can see, we have added the expiration date, material number, supplier name, customer name, product number, CS number, formula, and formula weight. These are the 8 fields which are added for the top COA information, and we have also added another column called test specification for the COA test results. We will be able to extract the test specifications also. So now let's see how the information has been extracted. So whenever the information has been extracted, we will receive the email notification saying that it's ready for review. So this was the document which we had uploaded, and it creates a new task for you to review. And on this review screen, this is a human review process. We don't want to create the record automatically into the final quality record, but we want uh, everybody to have a control like before creating the final record. So that's why we have this human review process, where you can see here on the side by side the information extracted from the PDF document. So let's see here on the customer name, it's extracted from here. You can see here that the D has been considered as O, so we can make an update to that. And then the product information is extracted with 100% accuracy, the product number, batch number, supplier, CS number, formula weight, and quality release date. As you can see, all this information has been extracted with 100% accuracy. And you must have seen that whenever you select any particular field, it highlights on the right side from which section of the PDF we are extracting that information from. And also, as you can see, the specification, that's the test specification column. If you mouse over, that's another thing which we have added in this release, that once you do the mouse over, you'll be able to see the information. As you can see, the test specification is also extracted. So the reason for adding this tooltip was sometimes it's because of this limited space, we are not able to show the full text. So you can just mouse over and you can see what's the actual value which is extracted and if any modifications needs to be done in that. Okay, so that's some of the things which you have done, and I want to focus more on the supplier here. So this is a unique field, I would say. So what we have done for the supplier field is, as you can see on the right side, it's extracted from this brand name. We have mapped the supplier to the brand, and we first extracted the text for the supplier, which is Ulrich, and then we tried to do the exact match against existing records in the supplier. So let me show you. So this is for the demo purpose. I created the two records. So the exact match is the Ulrich. So that's why we are showing the Ulrich as a supplier name. If the record was not there, then we would show the Sigma Ulrich. That's because that's the next closest match for the supplier. So we can. This is the new thing which we have done in this release, that we will be able to automatically show the supplier's name as well. Okay, so these are some of the things which we have added, and it is going to help for the customers from the life sciences to extract all this information and automate their severe data extraction. So let's submit and let's see what happens. Now you can see the invalid date. That's another enhancement which we have done in this release. As you can see, we have to follow the standard formats to make sure that data integrity is intact. So we have added the validations on submit, which will highlight users that which specific field has a validation error. So you guys can go to that specific field and make the appropriate edits and then create the submit. Then hit the submit. Yeah. Okay, so now the quality record has been created. Let's see how that looks. As we can see, this is the record which is created. Its record type is CVA because we uploaded the CVA document, and we have also provided the association for the document analysis. That's the IDP document from where we uploaded. So if we want to go back and see how this record was created, and we can see that all this information has been automatically filled in and the record has been created. Also at the bottom you can see the test results have been created. So that's the beauty of the IDP feature. Everything is extracted automatically and the records are created, and these test results are mapped to this quality object. So these are some of the enhancements which we have done in the COA, and we will continuously improve the IDP feature. And in few minutes, we will cover what's coming in the IDP in the next releases. And with that, I will hand it over to Daniel, because I know you guys are waiting to see the demo of the Specright Network feature. So over to you, Daniel. Thank you.
For today's demo of the Specright Network, we have created Specright demo instances to show you how two supply chain partners can share data on the network. The first system is for Corrugated LLC, which has a green banner. They have joined the network to share their packaging specs and catalog to their customer named Tustin Fresh Foods. Tustin Fresh Foods has a blue banner, and they will be on the receiving end of the network data. The Specright Network lives as a module to the core SDM platform of Specright. If we click on the Network tab, we can see there is a Search tab, Share tab, Members tab, and Company Info tab. Under the Members tab, we can view all of the network members' names and information about them. For this demo, I will start off as an employee of Corrugated LLC system. On the Specright Network Share tab, I can see that I have the option to share a document or a specification. A member would utilize the document share functionality to share their product catalogs or a compliance document. In this demo, I'm going to focus on how supply chain partners share packaging specs. You will see my shipper A2 under the Share tab. By clicking on the name of the spec, I can review the spec's information in the network page layout and make sure all the information looks correct in the preview draft mode. Once I am ready to share this spec, I will move the status bar at the top to Publish. In this pop-up, it is asking me who I want to share the spec with out of the network members. I have the option to choose Select Members or Publish it to all members. For this example, I'm going to choose to just share it with Tustin Fresh Foods. We can see that I've successfully shared my shipper A2 to the network. Notifications are sent through the system and through email to my supply chain partners. To recap, the new functionality shown in this portion of the demo was the member directory, the document share, and the spec share. Now I'm going to switch to be an employee at the Tustin Fresh Foods company. I will go into my system and see that I received an alert that Corrugated LLC has shared a new spec with me. If I click on the alert, I will be taken directly to the shipper A2 within my Specright Network tab. Besides accessing a spec shared with me through the email or system alert, I can also search for it using the like item finder in the network. Under the Search tab, you can use this enhanced search tool to find a specification you are looking for. Once I've found that specification, I have a few options of how I can save it. The two export options are to export the spec as a PDF or as a CSV. If I click the PDF version, you will see it creates a file that you can share outside of the system. The next option is to click the Save button and create a local copy of the specification in your system. This is possible because prior to this demo, Tustin Fresh Foods went through the network onboarding process with the Specright team. This onboarding process consists of creating field mapping between the network page layout fields and the local fields so that this consumption process is as easy as a click of a button. We can now view the local copy of the shipper A2 under the specifications tab outside of the network in my Specright system. This copy is created for you to make local changes to. On the record, you can view the packaging details, the network version number you consumed, who shared the spec with you, and other versions released under this network history tab. To recap, the new functionality shown in this portion of the demo was the notification alerts, the like item finder search tab, export options, and how to create a local copy of a shared spec. Now we are going to jump over to the Corrugated LLC system again. In the second half of this demo, we will be focused on the versioning capabilities of the network. If I go to the local copy of the shipper A2, I can update a few attributes like the depth and flute without affecting the published version of the shipper stored on the network. Let's say we are satisfied with our changes and we want to share these new updates to Tustin Fresh Foods. If we go to the network, you will see that the shipper automatically moves back to the draft state because I made changes to the local copy. You will see that the depth and flute field have been updated on the preview as well. Since I am ready to publish, I will change the status and see that this spec will be shared to Tustin Fresh Foods again because the previous version was shared with them. In this screen, you have control over whether you want to remove or grant more access to your updated versions of specifications. To close out this demo, I'm going to show you what the updated version of the shipper A2 spec looks like in the Tustin Fresh Foods org. First off, we can see that I received another set of alerts because a new version was shared with me. If I ignore the alert for now and find the local copy of the shipper A2 I consumed a few minutes ago, we can see under the Network History tab that version 2 is available, but my current record is on version 1. If I click on version 1, you will see that all the fields are highlighted in green. That is because the fields were all added upon creating the spec in my system. If I click on version 2, you will see that the depth and flute attributes are highlighted in orange because they were updated. In order to update my local spec, I can click this button to be taken to the newest version of the spec on the network to initiate the consumption process. This time, when I click the Save button, I will be prompted to review the changes of the specs side by side. As we scroll down, we can see the changes in highlighted colors. Once I click the Confirm button, the fields will be updated on my local copy. To recap, the second half of this demo was focused on versioning capabilities. I know that was a lot of jumping back and forth between systems, but I hope this mockup gave you a better idea of how the Specright Network benefits supply chain partners. As we continue developing the Specright Network, we are looking for customers to test it out. We are launching the Specright Network beta program, so if your company is interested in getting access to this new feature, please email me directly at danielle@specright.com to schedule a discovery session. We have limited spots and will be assessing the fit of your use case for the network. We are looking for innovative partners to test out the new way of sharing and receiving data with your supply chain.
Thank you, Dharma and Danielle. AI, machine learning, computer vision, and quantum ledger databases. A lot of innovation covered in these two amazing demos. And here's what we are already working on to bring in our next release. For intelligent document processing, we are already starting to work on the next document after COAs. This is the certificate of insurance. We have an existing integration with TOPS Pro, which is with their desktop version. We are now going to be adding support for their web app as well. Artwork file viewer, this is something which we have had requests for a very long time. This is basically being able to preview .ai files, which is your Adobe Illustrator files and similar formats, which currently are not supported on Specright. So we can also preview these attachments as part of viewing your finished code of the specification. We are making improvements also to revision management, basically, which includes custom supersede, for instance. And finally, we are adding additional capabilities to the Specright network. With that, I will hand it back to Steve.
Okay, thanks very much to Ravi, Dharma, and Danielle for sharing that in-depth look at all these exciting new product enhancements and capabilities. So as for next steps, we ask that you contact your sales rep for more information or to discuss your account. Please share these updates with your teams and help us spread the word about these great features. And as always, we appreciate your continued feedback and input, which really helps us to improve the usability and experience for all of our users. Thank you so much for joining us, and now we'll open it up to answer any questions. So if you have any, please enter them in the chat window now. We've actually got a few coming in already. The first question for Specright Network is, can specs shared on the network support attachments?
So yeah, that's a very good question. Currently, in the current version, we do not support attachments for specs. You can actually add those attachments as separate documents. But the very next thing that we are going to be working on in the upcoming release and the next release is going to be supporting the attachments on the specs. So yes, that is coming very soon.
Okay, great. The second question is on IDP. Does the COA have to meet a specific format for data to be extracted?
So what we have seen, based on our research, is that COAs can be very, very different in terms of how they are formatted by the suppliers, right? So typically, all the suppliers have their own format. However, they tend to follow like a standard pattern where you have a lot of the top level information, then you have a table of the results, right? So it is kind of similar, but yet not the same. When we work with customers, generally, we intake their COA, the most common COA templates that they have, and we train our machine learning models and our AI models so that we can extract the information from them. So there is a training element, right? So once you want to implement IDP COA extraction, we will work with you to kind of look at your templates and then train our models on those templates. Having said that, there are a lot of suppliers which are used commonly across a lot of our different customers, which means our models are already trained on a lot of the common supplier templates. So if you are already using those COAs, then we may not have to go through that training process. Hope that answers your question.
Great, thanks, Ravi. And then we'll just have time for one more, again on Specright Network. How do members exchange notes and communicate with one another on the network?
So collaboration between members on the network is also something that we have on our Specright Network roadmap, right? So one of the things that we are looking at is enabling comments on the specs that are shared on the network. The other thing we'll be taking a look at is also actually being able to support kind of a messaging system on the network, right? So currently, of course, you can do that, include that as part of your additional fields on the spec itself. But yes, collaboration features on the network are coming next.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for those responses. That's all we have time for today. For any other questions we didn't get to, we'll be sending out an FAQ, and that will hopefully take care of most of your questions or concerns. So we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks again, and have a great rest of your day.